fucking head comfortable.
Oh, he did. Okay, I think the window gotta be shut down. I'm starting to get a chill. You starting to get cold at all? No. Really? Yeah. Oh. House good. Smells and feels like fresh stuff.
Yatha, welcome. Glad to see you back. Hopefully you hear me all right. I'm actually answering a question from one of our other team members asking to describe table 3-6 in the AISC steel manual. So I'm just taking a quick look and am gonna kind of work my way through that, and then maybe I'll pop it up for a video. And then I'm getting back into wood design. Ow. Sorry, man, I got something in my throat. Let's see. What's your question? Is G +1, I'm taking that as like a basement plus 1 floor? Uh-oh, he's got millimeters. This man ain't using Imperial. He's outside the US. I'm gonna do my best. You guys have the superior units. Just, I don't know. Ground floor +1, okay. UK, welcome. We got like Freedom Eagles and donuts per pound slug inch foot over here in the US. You know, the usual. All right, if all the upper floor loads get distributed to the foundation via columns, okay. Robert, my man, I'm actually looking into that right now. So I'll give a little play-by-play on the spot. Okay, so you're saying the perimeter walls are non-load bearing, is what I'm getting at, or is what I'm understanding. I mean, as long as if your walls you're designating as non-load bearing, then yes, you usually provide some type of, if this is like stick built or light gauge or, you know, wood construction, you provide some type of deflection head for non-load bearing walls. That way, as your structure deforms under load, you don't get contact between your structural elements and your non-structural elements, because you obviously don't want them to be loaded. So how do you design the perimeter walls? If it's perimeter walls, then it's exterior walls. You'd have to, and if they're non-load bearing, I guess you transfer the loads to the foundation. The walls are block work. Yeah, so you'd have to design for out-of-plane forces for your exterior walls. That's going to be more of the issue, especially if it's blocks. So CMU is what I take that as. So you'll have like wind forces, or I don't know if the UK is high seismic region. I don't think it is, but I don't know. That's more so what you'd have to design for. And then if it's non-load bearing, there's not a lot of load there, so you just have typical like continuous strip footings along your perimeter to pick up just the self weight of the block wall. It's tough, unfortunately, to try and answer your question without like you showing like a diagram of it. So if you're really stumped, then maybe draw up a little sketch and you can send it to me via email and I can take a look. Hey, you're an engineer, all the same. No excuses. I see you. I see you working over there, so I love it. I love the questions. Oh, and obviously tell me if I was absolutely no help. I don't know if I'm interpreting your question correctly. All right, Robert. Let's get in here. So I'm looking at over here I always forget. I have the 14th edition physical copy in front of me. But the 15th is what's on the screen here. So I would dive down into section 3.6 and see what they're talking about. Okay. Because they give, at the beginning of each chapter, if your chapter has a bunch of different tables, at the very beginning of the chapter, they give explanations as to the methodology and how and what these tables actually mean and what they do for you. All right, 3.6. Just want to make sure it's the same. All right, so maximum total uniform loads on braced. So your braced length is less than LP. Simple span beams bend about their major axis. So that's like, we drew 3D here. That's the load coming down and deflecting it this way. So that's strong axis. LB is less than LP, so that means that you're fully braced. But what I would do to check that, I'm going to flip over. I shouldn't do it with my book. I can do it with the screen here. I'm going to jump us down to the flexural provisions in the back. Let's see what we got. So chapter F. Am I close? We're in the appendix. Chapter I. Sorry for the eye torture. Let's see. Oh, there we go. All the way up, all the way up. Just close your eyes, everybody. Okay. Just want to make sure. So we have condition F2. I'm assuming compact. But it would be either F2 or it'd be F3 or it could be F4. So all these three conditions are all bent about your strong axis, and it's just differences in your slenderness ratios, your compactness of your webs and flanges give you different limit states. Actually, it's F5 too. Jesus. Okay, but in reality, I think it's going to be F2. So if we scroll down, so you have yielding is going to be this equation, and then you have lateral torsional buckling is your other limit state. But if you read at the beginning here, here's your case A. When LB is less than LP, the limit states of lateral torsional buckling do not apply, so then that goes away. So then it's just yielding is your capacity, that's what table 3.6 stated. So that's just what I wanted to check. And then if I get us back up here. Okay, so simple span. Just gonna write some of this down. So I would just draw a simple span member. You have a load on it, it's a wide flange. This gives you beams bent about their major axis, W shape, so it's only wide flanges. Yield strength 50 KSI, ASTM 8992 steel, that's all wide flanges, that's typical. These tables include W shapes that are most commonly used in flexure. Okay, so it doesn't have, I guess the way that I read that is that they don't have every shape of a wide flange, just those that are most common. Uniform load constant. Okay, feed W or feed. Okay, so LRFD or ASD, and that gives you kip feet. It's uniform load constant. Okay, I'm gonna assume LRFD. So you have feed WC. I guess C is for the constant. That's kip feet. Divided by the span length L in feet provides the maximum total uniform load in kips for a braced simple span beam bent about its major axis. Okay, so then L is in feet, because kip feet divided by feet gets you kips, so those units make sense to me. And you have to have that condition, fully braced, so again, that's the same thing as saying LB is less than or equal to LP. This is based on the available flexural strength as discussed in for table 3-2. Let's go to table 3-2 quick. Values are provided up to an arbitrary span to depth ratio of 30. Okay, so it doesn't go infinitely. You have a cutoff span to depth ratio of 30, depth being, I would assume, the depth of your member to your length of your simply supported span. So if I were to say L for my span, and then D for my depth, L over, let's see, span to depth ratio, I would say L over D is less than or equal to 30. Quick side note, let me just get back to Al quick, because he's spamming the chat. It's all good. Basically, if you... Okay, so if you had spread footings at each of your columns, but then you had CMU or block work infilling the walls, how would the wall loads be transferred to the ground? If your block work is non-structural, so non-load bearing, then you just have to support those block walls for their own weight. And typically, how I've done detailing is if you have a reinforced slab on grade, wherever you have block wall, you thicken the area of your slab on grade in center or centered with your block wall. So you'll go, if you have a 4-inch slab, then you would just have the contractor cut out a little bit deeper, and maybe it would be an 8-inch by 12 inches wide zone that is aligned with your block wall underneath. And that's then all of the loading from the block wall just gets transferred down and supported on their own little mini strip footings, and that's that. Or you could, if it's not a lot of load, if it's not a high, if it's for some reason, if it's non-grouted block wall, it's a reasonably short, story height, so your wall's not very tall. And if it's interior, there's not exterior walls that don't have to be designed for out-of-plane loading, then maybe you could justify just having the block wall sit right on top of the slab on grade. Could you do complete shot? This is Yatha. This is you and Al. Is that common terminology kind of outside of the US, or maybe it's also in the US and I'm just not aware of it? Like G plus and then a number for number of stories. I've never come across that before, but that could be me being a dummy. That's cool if so. Like Yatha's saying G plus 10, so ground floor and then 10 floors above that. Is that that's how you interpret that? Basically. Oh, hang on, sorry. I've got no tunes going. Might be. Yep, that's correct. Let's see. What about the forces induced on the pads, aka the spread footings? I've heard pad footings before, but yeah, ground. UK homes don't really have basements. Oh, cool. Okay. What about the forces induced on the pads? Wouldn't there be moments from the wall loads? So again, it's different depending on how you want to design it. You can say that your column loads are landing and being supported on their own spread footings, and then your strip footings underneath your block walls, those, as long as you design them to be able to take the gravity loading of the block wall, then from a gravity standpoint, the block wall doesn't need to be supported on the spread footings. They only need to be designed for the column load. Even if you have a little bit of block wall that's landing on the pad footing, you should take that dead load, or that load from that portion of wall that is sitting on top of the pad footing, and make sure that you include that in the pad footing calculation. But it's ultimately, if I'm understanding this correctly, it's not a big amount of load. It's pretty insignificant in comparison to the column load, I would suspect. Again, not sure without seeing it. And then in terms of moment, if the block wall is eccentric from the center line of the pad footing, yes, then there's a little bit of moment that is being created on your pad footing. But again, it's small because it would just be the load induced by the length of wall that's over top of your pad footing, which should only be a couple of feet, if that. So it would be very insignificant. But yeah, you would make sure that you design your footing to take, P over A, so your axial load over the area of your spread footing to get a bearing pressure. And then you would need to take into account your M over S, your moment, which is created by the eccentric load of the wall, and then your section modulus for your pad footing, and you'd be good to go. I don't think there's really a need to, and again, this is, I know I sound like a broken record here, but without seeing visuals, it's very, very difficult in our field. I think everybody here knows that. Trying to convey information across with just words, it takes 10 times longer and it's 10 times more confusing. A simple sketch anytime is so beneficial in our trade. And that's a little side note. I was telling a coworker the other day, when you're creating your calculation package for projects, reviewers love to see sketches and figures and diagrams, so much more than just raw calculations. It helps them interpret what you're interpreting and how you're seeing things. A picture is worth, 1,000 words or whatever, but it's so true. So don't underestimate the value of a little statics force diagram or a little picture of your connection and what it looks like and where you're getting your values from. It's really, really beneficial. Okay, we're back. Robert. So, okay, we're gonna scoot over to section 3 or table 3.2. Let's just see. This is based on the available flexural strength as discussed in table 3.2. I think that's the Z tables, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, okay. And your Z table just gives you your max bending capacity for simply supported member. Actually just gives you max bending capacity. Assume a fully braced member. So let's do a little test here. Let's grab something smaller, something more manageable. Let's grab an 18 by 35 and let's do LRFD. So we want to do phi MPX is equal to 249 kip feet. And now let's zoom back up. Oh, and then it talks about shear. Okay, so now let's jump over to table 3-6. Okay, 3.6. Shoot, what did I say? 18 by 35, right? Yeah. Okay. Rob, I appreciate the compliment, man. I really do. It means a lot. I don't know why the song keeps playing for my music list. I don't know if anybody's familiar with like one of the biggest streamers out there, Tim the Tatman, but I noticed that this is his background music for his endings, so it cracks me up every time it plays when I'm studying. Okay. But Rob, I do appreciate it. It's from all of your support also that keeps me going just as much. So keeps me learning, keeps me hungry for more knowledge and to just better myself. So appreciate you being here. And while we're on that subject, like and subscribe if you haven't, if you're just jumping in here and you're need a cozy little place to study along with me. But today it's kind of pivoted a little bit. I thought I was getting back into my wood calcs in my studying that I was doing, but Robert got me on a little question about table 3.6, and he's shouting at his computer screen to wrap this up. So let's finish it up. All right, 18, so you have your W18 and then you have all your section sizes going across here in decreasing sizes. We're doing 35, boom, right here. Let's see if I can zoom in. Yeah. I listen to classical music when studying. You know, I get my groove. I got my classical playlists as well. All right. And then they give you, so we have our shape size. Then they give you your span. Let's say we're doing, you know, let's say, well, let's see, we're limited, right? A W18 by 35 is 18 inches deep, so D is 18 inches. Let me just confirm exactly what it is, but the first number should always be relatively the depth of your wide flange. And then the second number is the weight per linear foot. A little fun fact, if I'm boring y'all and you're like, man, come on, I know that stuff. You know, maybe there's someone out there that didn't know, and now they know. Yeah, okay, so 17 3/4 inches, so we're gonna call it 18 for D. Okay, so D's 18. I'm just curious about something here, because they said it's limited to a span to depth ratio of 30. So they go to a span of 44. So if it was 44 feet over, so 18 into feet would be 1.5. 44 divided by 1.5 is 29.33. Okay, so they're limited. So that means that 44, if we go to a W20, that 44 should change. Well, W18 goes to 50. 54. I wonder if these are slightly deeper. 21 goes to 52. Just for, let's see, for super deep. W18s. Oh yeah, okay, so the super heavy W18s go all the way up to 22 inches for D. So that's why they get to, their spans get a little bit longer there. But something to take note of. So they do, these spans are limited to L over D, D being the depth of your member. Just wanted to make sure they were true to their word. So let's go back to ours. 18 by 35. Let's do 20 feet. So L $20, 35, LRFD, 99.8, and this is maximum total uniform load kips. Okay, so let's see what they do here. And remember, it's 20 feet simply supported, but it's fully braced. So whatever it takes for LB to be less than LP, that's the condition we have. So L is 20 feet. That gets us 99.8 kips, I think. Let's see. Notice in the notes, it says for beams laterally unsupported, see table 310, which is your unbraced length versus available moment capacity. That's the line figures and tables. Available strength tabulated above heavy line is limited by available shear strength. Interesting, so this guy here. So you gotta make sure that you're checking shear anytime you're above heavy line is limited to shear strength. Okay, so it's not a fluctual concern, and which makes sense because as your beams progressively get shorter and shorter, they are less it's less driven by moment capacity and more driven by shear capacity. Okay, so those are some good notes, but let's see. And this is, I don't use these tables, so I'm learning for the first time here as well. Uniform load, kips. So the way that I would take that is 99.8 kips with a length of 20. So does that mean if you take that number, 99.8, and you divide it by the length of 20, that would get you KLF. That would get you 4.99 KLF. And we're running LRFD here. And we know that our maximum moment capacity for LRFD, for fully braced, per the Z tables of 3.2, is 249 kip feet. That means we do simply supported, 20 feet fully braced, of 4.99 KLF. 20-foot span. That gets us an MU of times 20 squared over 8, 249.5 kip feet. Yeah, which then that equals VMPX. So that's your max moment capacity. Okay. So I think the key driver here is it gives you kips. So it gives you that last component. So if you back out whatever length you have in association with that, if you take this number and divide it by your length, that will get you your maximum total uniform load in KLF that you can apply as a evenly distributed load across your simply supported span, which can be helpful when you're running calculation, I would say running early calculations and figuring out like, hey, how much load can this beam take? You know, I want to do this much dead load. I have to design for this much snow load. Like, I guess it's a different way of looking at it. But let's go a step further here. So a lot of the same values as table 3-2, our Z tables. You see your BF here. They even have shear in here. MP, so there you go. VMP, if you go over here, 249, that's the same as the Z table. And then WC, they have 2,000. And they, is that? Oh, Robert, look at you go, my man. 2,000 divided by your span gives you the chart value. Okay. There you go. Cool. Interesting. I guess why would I use that? I would use that because if I have a 20-foot span, I can just take that and divide by 20 to get you that, and then take that and divide by 20 to get your KLF. But I could just use the value Yeah, why would I ever use that? Because you have the table right there. I guess if you did, no, because I don't know why I would use this off the top of my head. I might be being a dummy here live, but cool. Okay, so what Robert just said in the chat is your WC right here. You can also take this and divide by whatever span length you have for your condition, and that then gets you, so if you divided it by 20, that then gets you 99.8. So it gets you the chart value. It's kind of two circular ways, kind of it all connects together of going about it. Cool. And then again, that gives you KIPS, but then you can divide that by your span again, and that will get you your max KLF for a uniformly distributed load on a simply supported beam for your design purposes. Cool, very cool. And they give you something kind of nice. They give you LP down here to say if you had a condition, you know, if you didn't say, it's kind of easier in academia to say, well, our beam is continuously braced, we're good to go. Like that's our condition. But if you're a designer and you had to say that, that means you have to then detail it as such, and what does that mean? So are your braces at 10 feet, 5 feet, 1 foot? Well, you know, what are they in order to meet that criteria? And that's where that LB check comes in. It has to be less than LP. So you can say, my braces are gonna be at 5 feet. Then you can come across here and say, well, it needs to be less than 4.31 in order to make this table viable, in order to be considered fully braced and meeting that condition. So you're like, oh, okay, actually, my braces need to be at 4 feet. That's what I need to detail in my drawings in order to meet the condition, use this table effectively, and then finish your design. So that info's down there, which is nice. And then the Z, it's kind of a blend of table 3.2 as well as expanding a little bit further on it. So nice. I like that a lot. And these, I guess the last thing I'll say to this, Robert, and I think it sounds like you got it under control, which I love that. But I will say that these tables, for anyone else out there who's just like wrapping their head around it, from the description they gave, these values and these tables are for very specific conditions for wide flanges. And if you start to deviate even a little bit and have some type of custom condition, cantilevers or different type of brace conditions or weird loading conditions, these tables kind of become either A, more difficult to use, or B, you're unable to use them. Or so just be careful with that. If it starts to get funky, don't think that you can always come back to these. They're for very kind of simplistic, probably more like if you have bigger, larger steel buildings where you have a lot of similar bays of very identical loading, that's where these can be helpful to kind of knock out large portions of structures, and then you get into the nitty-gritty little custom areas and you move away from these tables. That's just my 2 cents though. I did not get the Ember Cup yet. Actually, if you see behind me here, my girlfriend, she just got her workstation, so she's got a desk behind us now, working on her own business for a couple of years now. So she's actually got an official place where she's been making content as well. So we just cleaned today. That was a large portion of today, cleaning up cables, all that kind of stuff. You can see my book collection is gone. It's actually in a bookcase in our closet now, so I've got all my codes in there and all my important papers in there now. So when I need something, you'll see me get up and I gotta go over there now. She may come in and study or work in the background every once in a while. She actually passed her big exam just a few months ago. So she was studying with me here and there. She was studying much more than I was, but she knocked that thing out. Super proud of her for that. So, but yeah, if she ever feels like it, you may see her in the background. She may come and hang out with the rest of the Kestävä gang. All right, let's get some more tunes going, and let's keep the, you know what do we want? I'm going to explore some sounds real quick. At least you're getting wild. It was a sports nutritionist exam. It was the ISSC? I forget. There's two classifications of it. It was the higher classification that she had to take, and but yeah, she's all about human performance, nutrition, sports nutrition. That's kind of her realm. All right. Well, that was a nice little side tangent on the steel. I'm gonna pop back over myself personally to a little bit of wood shearl design. All right, this music's kind of wild. All right, there we go. Will do. I'll let her know. And the timber conference was good. I only got to go one of the 2 days, but it was a good time. Got to see some cool presentations, some cool concepts, and getting excited to continue designing with mass timber and hopefully more of it. Grabbing some water. Be right back. How do you design cold form steel? Simpson cold form, cold stud steel designer. No, that's a joke. I should get into more of that. I'm not the most well versed in it, but I have obviously done it before. Similar in the same aspect to wood stud. Robert, are you kidding me? Thank you so much. I've never gotten a tip before. $19.99 from Robert Martinez. Dude, thank you so much. That's unreal. Hey, thank you for the suggestion. I mean, that's, you taught me something new today. I had never used those tables before, so I appreciate all of you help. I should be giving you a tip. And just know that pretty much everything that, the little that I make from this channel goes right back into it tenfold, upgrading equipment, hopefully getting more time to study more, to convey more info and knowledge back to all of you in a way that's digestible and easier to understand, so that we can grow as a better form of engineer or designer or whatever together. Because I think there's so much new technology and just so many better ways and practices to go about designing nowadays, that the old conventional way of doing things that we're taught is becoming obsolete, and we should be discovering new ways to do our jobs even better and not just settling for the same old. That's another main reason why I made this channel. Is, you know, you can learn so much outside of the classroom now, and I want to do it by proof of concept, and that's what this channel is all about. That's so sick, Robert. I can't get over that. That's unreal, man. You're the best. I hear you, Al. I mean, already, like, let's be real. Back in like 2015, when I was in college, I was looking for answers, as well as all of my classmates in engineering class, on YouTube, you know, trying to find that homework problem or someone to explain the concept better to us, because our professors half the time weren't getting the job done. They didn't have enough time, didn't care, or just were bad at conveying how to do something to a group of individuals who had never done it before and were nervous about doing it, and, you know, need to take a little more time. So I know I did a lot of my studying and learning through YouTube, even back then, you know, 7 years ago. So, wow, dating myself, I feel old. And now today, YouTube has grown even more, and other channels, you know, Khan Academy, and I've never used that, but you have School of PE out there specific for engineers. Just so many more platforms opening up to give knowledge back to you. MIT, I'm pretty sure that all of their lectures for like all of their engineering courses are free online. Like, all of the classes are recorded that students go to for normal curriculum, and you can watch them and absorb all of them for free. I have checked those out before. They're very cool. Never underestimate that Indian guy, man. He's always been there, he's always got your back, and he's always helping you knock out the problems. I've watched YouTube videos before on engineering concepts from people speaking different languages and still got the concept through. They taught me better than people who can actually speak my own language. Like, that's the crazy part about it, and that's the cool part about engineering that I like a lot, is that it transcends languages. It's still numbers, it's still the same concepts, it's still physics, mathematics, and it's the same in every language, same principles, and I find that very cool. I have to send a picture of this to my buddies. Robert, you literally have made like my whole summer. This is so cool. Thank you again. Way too much, all right? That's the thing I gotta say. Way too much money, Robert. Too generous. Cut that out. I gotta get back to we all gotta get back to studying. We're goofing off. No, I'm here studying with all of you, but if a conversation arises and we're talking through engineering and problems and even things like business, finance, growing as a professional, all of that incorporated into one, let's open it up and let's talk. Same here in the US, Al. Yeah, I was always grinding to just pass my exam and then dump all the knowledge that I had just crammed into my brain to start prepping for the next test, that next week or that next day. But I never really learned and grasped the concepts that I was taking the test on. It was just, I need to get the answer right and that's it. But then it took me until after school in the professional world to realize that that's not the way to go about anything, because everything that you work on is going to be custom in some type of way. There's never two buildings that are identical. Even two buildings that hypothetically are identical, they're still built in two different places, even right next to one another, and that may lead to minor changes and differences between the two that if you don't fully grasp concepts, you'll never understand when there is a time when something changes, and that's when things get dangerous. I mean, you're talking to someone that I didn't pass the FE the first time. I forgot my calculator, and there's a whole story behind it. I have a fun little story on my YouTube channel about that, if you want to check that out. But the FE is important because it's one of the milestones that you need to pass in order to become a professional engineer. So if you want that stamp, if you want to be licensed in the US, I'm not sure about the rest of the world's curriculum, but the FE, the Fundamental Engineering Exam, that's the first one you pass. That kind of wraps up everything that you learned in college and places it on one exam. You got to pass that to be certified as a EIT, an engineer in training, and then you do your years of experience under a registered professional, and then you sit for your PE exam. So it's obviously important, but then after you're done with it, the questions on it and more the concepts about it, because it crosses a little more mathematical and physics-y kind of fades away a little bit. You don't need to get as heavy into that as you get into more of a typical consulting engineering firm, at least for structural. And then when you're studying for your PE, those questions get much more similar to your everyday, today experiences for calculations and stuff that you experience in your professional career. Oh, wait, is it wait, are you talking? If you're talking finite element analysis, it's very important. You can do many things without doing FEA. I am not very good at FEA. I took a class on it in college, but I think I got a B or B+. Learned a lot, but I don't use it all that much or ever. I haven't used it in my professional career, let's put it that way. Your analysis software does run FEA within its code and all that kind of stuff, but Personally, I don't run programs where I'm manipulating FEA analysis for custom shapes or anything like that. I pretty much most of the stuff I do, I try to be able to do by hand and keep it simple. Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that about the UK. That's neat. All right, let's jump back in. Let's check our. So I checked my my posts in my wood shear wall for combined tension and bending, and now let's check our compression post case. That's what I'm doing now. Yeah, so many principals in older generation, they kind of just bypass Revit. I don't know if you're using Revit also, but that's the main design software used, at least for all the companies I've been at. But a lot of principals, they don't even get into it. They just say, make the drawings look like this, but they only know kind of AutoCAD jargon. But they know what they want, and that's the important part. Yeah, I'm proficient in. I'm good with Reza 2D, a little bit with Reza 3D. SAP I could be better on. Someone would probably have to walk me through it again. I don't use it too often, but I'm going to be taking. I got to sign up for some classes for like SAP, and ETABS for full building like lateral analysis. I got to get back into that. I have a couple buddies where that's like all that they do. And they're very, very good at it, and I got to get back into that because I know so little about that. I know, again, how to run hand calcs for stuff like that, but once you start getting to, larger structures and all of that and making changes on the fly to your lateral system and moving things around early phase, you can't just keep revising hand calcs. It's not efficient. I'll have to check them out. Gregory Michelson. Yeah. Marshall University. Very cool. Yeah, looks like he's got some good stuff. I love it. I'm gonna have to dive into some of these. These look good. These look like raw lectures. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I don't know too many crazy tricks for my TI-36. Not gonna lie. I don't like store anything in here, do anything like that. I mean, I can do a quick rundown of stuff, but I'm pretty boring. I feel like an old man when it comes to like tech sometimes. Like I add, subtract, multiply, divide. You got your square roots over there. You have your sine, cosine, tangent. And the rest is history. It took me forever to realize that you can click that squiggly button right there and it changes from fraction to decimal and decimal to fraction. So that took me forever to realize. Oh, cool. Looks like, okay, a couple of you know this guy. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, he had like 50,000 subscribers, so that man's balling out. Entire civil degree online. Yeah. Sick. Jeff, I think I'm gonna split up the SE into gravity and lateral, and I think I'm gonna take one of those two. Either this, it's already May, maybe this October, or the following April. I'm gonna say definitely not after April. So there you go. Who's the Texas guy? There's another guy that I follow, actually. Shameless, not even a shameless plug. He doesn't even follow me. I've never even talked to him before. But well, I know this isn't a Texas guy, but Dirk Bondi is an absolute G when it comes to PT slab design, reinforced concrete design, seismic design. Dirk Bondi. Here, I'll just type him in the chat. He's awesome. He is so awesome. And he seems like a pretty laid back guy. Pretty, he's worked in the industry for a long time, so he gets it. It's not just pure academic. And then the other guy I follow, and here I'll just pull him up over here. So this is Dirk Bondi. As you can see, he did it 9 months ago. So he's not like a big YouTube guy by any means, but he does upload his videos. And each one of his lectures are really, really good. This is me. You can see I've looked before at his little bit of PT, seismic analysis. Just does a really, really great job of going in depth and helping you understand the concept wholly. And then the other guy I got is this guy. Is this the Texas guy? Oh, this guy's at Florida. FIU. But yeah, he does all concrete, so this guy's really cool. Again, no affiliation whatsoever. No way. I keep saying Josu. I don't know if I'm butchering that, man. You guys are way too much. That's unreal. I really $20. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone in the chat who's just coming in, talking, creating a conversation about engineering. We're all so quiet sometimes that we don't talk enough with one another. We don't talk about helping each other out. Everyone thinks that they got to do it all by themselves sometimes, or that it's a competition always in our industry, but it's not. We're all here to better one another. At least you should be. So remember that. Thank you so much. Jose. Is it really Jose? Josue? Josue? Josue. That's kind of sick. I like that. Josue. Everybody gets it but me. Look at me go. My bad, dude. Thank you so much. I was so far off. I got no culture. So uncultured. Jeff, definitely agree. I was actually working with a contractor actually two contractors who their primary language is Spanish. And this is me sticking my foot in my mouth. I took 5 years of Spanish. Language just never was my forte. It was always a struggle for me. But I know words and stuff. I just apparently don't know Josue. So, but it was cool getting to communicate with them through motions, through drawing, to get the point across, where there was a language barrier gap, and it was on my end, because they did a good job of speaking English as their second language, and I just did a terrible job of speaking Spanish as my second language. We should all be able to be bilingual with 2 languages or more. Like, that's another old school thing, I feel like. Those Romanians, I have some good family friends who are Romanians, and yeah, they kick ass, for sure. Spanish version of Joshua. Love it. Very cool. I was Ricardo for a couple years in Spanish class, and then I switched to Pepe, and I rocked Pepe for the last 3 years of my Spanish career. R.I.P. Pepe. Yeah, I've done, I actually have an electronic stamp now for some work that I have done. So most of it is digital, but I do have some rubber stamps here as well that I've had to do some stuff on. Some very, very little stuff that I was helping out with family friends or a contractor here and there on some side stuff. Hey, Pepe's fine. You want to roll in here and call me Pepe? That was my name in another life. I haven't forgotten it. For statics review or soil mechanics review? I don't know, chat. Can anybody help him out? Anybody specific? I have some PE stuff, some PE prep in my playlist on my channel, where it's a mix of some staticky stuff for some PE problems that you got to use, but I don't know if it's anything specifically static, 100%. There you go. Jeffrey to the rescue. Jeff Hansen. Tanya J. I don't know these people. I love this. I should be asking all of you this. Let's go snooping. Oh, this guy's a baller. This guy's big time. Look at that. He is solely focused on statics. You can pass the class simply by watching the video series. That's a slam dunk if I ever seen one. Yo, Jeff, if you're out there low-key, let's collaborate sometime. That's all I'm saying. Reach out to him, chat. Let Kestävä be known. Let's get in here with him. Let's do a collab. Let's strengthen our statics knowledge together. Oh, he does mechanics and materials too. Cool. Looks like more college level stuff. Job career fair. I love that. Got some diagrams, got the pool noodle, got some foam. You know he knows what he's doing. Awesome. I remember studying this stuff for hours with my buddies back like freshman year of college and just grinding my way through it. But once you get it, you get it. And statics is above and beyond the thing that you use the most out of college in your professional career, at least as a structural engineer. Structure free guy. I have seen him before. This guy's got some cool energy. I like him a lot. I've listened to a couple of his way back. Back when I listened to him when I was in school. That's the crazy part about it. So he helped me learn, and I'm trying to give back a little bit and help all of you learn. Again, big freaking baller up here. 152,000 subscribers. One day, team. One day we're gonna be there. It'll happen. I guarantee it. I know there's more than, a sliver under 6,000 engineers out there in the world. I know that for a fact. So they're gonna trickle in slowly but surely into the auditorium. Everyone's gonna have their seat, gonna have our popcorn, and we're gonna be rocking and rolling. We're gonna be building that empire together. He busts out so many videos, and they're great. Oh, Jeff, that's cool. Yeah, it's all about that's what I've always stressed with this channel too, is real world examples is what is something that you need to dive into a lot as well, because if you don't make that link, if you don't give the why, if the person studying doesn't click with the why they're doing it, it just never sticks. Like, I remember like Elon Musk talking about this one time of if you're learning to build like a car engine, if you're learning to build a car engine, but someone is trying to explain to you like torque or something, and they just tell you the theory and the concept behind it, but if you can't, that only goes so far. But if you yourself need to be hands-on and to build this engine, and then all of a sudden you need to loosen a nut or tighten a nut or something, then you need, a torque wrench. You now realize the why. You understand that torque actually does exist. You make that connection right there, and then you realize why it can cause issues and ways to get around it and resolve it, and just as simply by tightening a nut. That kind of hands-on approach versus just all theory. Structure free! Yeah, I remember him saying that. Josue. Josue. I appreciate it, man. Hopefully one day, right? Millions of engineers. Can you imagine that? Collaborating in one spot. We can only dream, right? We can only hope. Until then, we're going to have the dedicated here with all of us, all of you here, and we're going to get that head start together. So, we'll make do. And if we don't hit those numbers one day, that's okay too. Because the people that we reach, like all of you, it was worth it. It was worth just that one person, helping out that one person, learn a new concept or clear something up, just that one thing. I call it success. Truly, I really do. Robert, peace. Yeah, we're approaching that 90 minutes, and did I study for 90 minutes? I don't know if I studied for 90 minutes. I don't want to say I studied for half of it, but everyone's been so chatty, and I really like it. I appreciate everybody coming in here, and just reaching out. Just being in here, being in an auditorium, being in the chat, saying hi if that's all you're doing. I always appreciate it. So always come back when you see me live. I'm going to be live a lot more, studying a lot more because I am trying to pursue that SE, and that means I got to get my nose in the books too, grinding out. But I'm going to be trying to keep up with making videos as well to help all of you and help cut out the fluff in between. But I learned something new in steel design today, so that was pretty cool. My ASC steel manual, we went over on screen the 15th edition, but the 14th edition, it was unchanged, so it was the same. Something new in the back pocket in the utility belt. But yeah, I gotta grab a bite to eat and get my exercise in, because physical exercise and mental exercise, hand in hand. I said that last time. You were eating dinner? Nah, I gotta eat dinner now, and you guys don't want to see me eat dinner. Joaquin? Is that how you say that? You'll notice very quickly my weaknesses. Pronouncing names and how to pronounce words in general. So, but if that is Joaquin, very cool name. That's true. I always feel bad for not natively speaking at least a second language, or fluently, not natively, fluently speaking a second language, because so many other parts of the world do already. Something I should practice more of, in all honesty, to get up to par with the rest of the world. But I agree, I do have that advantage, that English is one of the, world languages that are spoken. So if I can do a better job in the future, maybe I can get a little more help if the channel grows a little bit, to convey the knowledge farther than just English alone, hitting other languages, that it could be beneficial. But unfortunately, I gotta go eat. I'm gonna pick this up from where I left off. And I told anyone who wasn't in the chat last time, before I sign off here, that I am hopefully upgrading my PC sooner rather than later. The donations today, the first donations in history. Thank you again so much for it. That is gonna go straight towards that build that can give me the ability to do what I do in my videos live for all of you. So I'll have a sketch pad just like I do normally. You'll be able to see me do all of my calculations live. We can talk through things, you can ask questions, and then I can do side tangents and mark everything up like I do in my videos. But unfortunately, my potato PC can't handle that if I'm streaming. I can only do it if I'm recording, and it barely handles that. So Josue, anytime. What you got? Try Python? Dude, I want to get into coding, like low-key. Just a little bit. I want to taste it a little bit. I I want to do a little coding. Maybe some of you could teach me how to code. Maybe I can learn how to code live or something. Not to get on a total side tangent, but I think integrating coding and computer science into our trade, into structural engineering, civil engineering, all the engineerings is really, really important for the future. So highly would be down to do some Python sometime. An iPad. I don't have an iPad. Maybe I'll do some research on it and see if that's the way to go. Work on problems using good notes and use laser. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, I'll have to look into that. Ooh, we got some others. Joaquin's in here, wants to get in on that Python action. Is there a place that I can go to like learn Python for free? Let's see. I mean, I type it into the Google. That's what I do best when I have questions. And I come up with learnpython.org. This looks promising. Learn the basics. Hello World. I've heard of Hello World. I like weirdly have this fascination with computer science and coding YouTube channels. I don't follow any of them. I should. But every once in a while, I find it really fascinating, that type of work. Because it's like designing. It's like being a designer. We are designers for the physical world, civil engineers, structural engineers, and coders and computer science majors and professionals. They're designers for the digital world. At least that's the way that I interpret it. So I feel like we're two in the same brain kind of thing, just physical versus non-physical, or physical versus digital. Code Academy. C++. Josue, a man of many talents, speaking up here in the chat. My buddy of mine is actually going to be transitioning soon from structural engineering to computer science. So maybe I'll pick his brain a little bit, see what he's been up to. He's been studying, I know. Maybe I can get in contact with another creator for Python and collab with them, and they can teach me a little something in Python, and I can teach them a little something in structural engineering if they want to, and maybe we can combine it together to solve a problem using both of our skill sets. That'd be kind of fun. I got a lot of ideas, and I know you like let me know right now. Be like, that sounds like garbage, terrible idea. That's the kind of feedback, brutally honest, that I want from all of you always. If I should just be staying in my lane, then I'm going to do that. Not too far. Oh, it was a requirement. Cool. Open Seas. It's Open Seas. Let's take a look. This it? Open Seas, Berkeley? This is a Berkeley website. Oh, that's the one. Okay. All right. Well, I got my research to do now. I'm so curious on all this stuff. All right, ladies and gents, but it is that time. I don't mean to cut anybody off, but I do got to get something to eat. I promise that I wouldn't make dinner too late, and I'm reaching that timeline. So I got to bid everyone adieu. This has been such a cool conversation today. I appreciate every single one of you coming in here today, saying hi, giving your thoughts, starting the conversation, continuing the conversation. Before you go, leave a like if you want. You don't have to. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down if you want. You know, like that's the freedom that you have in YouTube. So pretty cool. Personally, I think they should have kept the visuals for the down button so you know how crappy this session was. But if you did happen to like it, give it a thumbs up. Helps the channel grow. I don't know specifically what it does. Maybe when I learn to code, I'll understand the YouTube algorithm. But until then, do whatever you feel like, you know, because free world. At least, hopefully on YouTube, that's how it's going to be. And if you're not and you like what we got going on here, we got the vibe, a little study session today. Okay, it was more of chatting than studying, but I promise you, we'll have some nice, calm study sessions. Many more of them moving forward, as well as example videos for structural engineering and the built environment. All that sounds good to you. Subscribe. Join the team of thousands of engineers from around the world coming together to better themselves. And again, one more time, thank you for the donations. That's the first time ever. I'm going to remember this for forever. It really was super, super cool. And just know that I'm going to be putting it to good use to better the channel, better the content, and keep spreading that knowledge. All right, everybody. I'll catch you next time. Later.